Hey guys, and welcome back to Regretsit. Brexit England, Northern Ireland, and Eastern Europe. And in Brexit England, we have reached a stage where we are low, get low, get low, get low. Can we go any lower? How the hell has this country come to this? It's because you put a clown in charge of the country because you're a bunch of stupid racists. And this is what you get. This is called punishment. Now we're in a country where they have school meals that are too expensive. They can no longer serve beef in schools, so they said they've got to look for cheaper alternatives to beef. I was like, oh well, can't be lamb because that's going to be more expensive. Obviously, can't be venison because that's going to be more expensive too. So I was thinking, what are they going to go with horse? Is that what they're doing? So they say, you know what? We've all eaten horse and we all enjoyed it at the time until we knew we was eating sugar, and at that point we thought I shouldn't be eating this old nag. But no, it was too late then, and we all knew it was delicious, right? With some type of sauce, right? Obviously cooked well, because when you're cooking food, food should be cooked well, right? You shouldn't be eating food that's got blood in it. Or, right, the other one, I can't remember what it's called now, but I know it's tartar, steak tartar, or whatever it's called. And I'm sure that's raw, right, which can't do very good for your constitution. But anyway, let's get back to the subject at hand, because the children in schools are being, instead of beef, they're going to give them gammon. What? So, what about all those religious peoples? And now this is the point where I have to step in and say, you know something, right? All you religious people, right? You're all blaspheming, right? When you're out eating bacon rolls, right? And I've been there, right? To watch some of my Jewish friends, right? And some of my Muslim friends, right? Eating bacon as if to say it's contraband. Looking over their shoulder and them things there, right? None of them will go to the shop and buy it. Because they can't go to the shop and buy it because, they've got to get it from the shop, right? To their house. Now, they've got to walk around the supermarket with it in their basket, unless they put it in their basket and cover it up with some stuff. But then they've got to still get it to their house. And now, if they're anything like how if Jewish ladies or Muslim ladies are anything like my mum, then they're damn chatterboxes, right? And every couple of steps they meet someone who they know, right? And they just leave they've got their kids with them, 3-4 years old, and their kids is like, God, listen, can you come on? I want to get home and watch Scooby-Doo. That was part of my life when I was a kid. Every couple of steps with my mum, the woman would stop and start speaking to somebody, right? And I was probably under 5, right? And it used to really annoy me, like as if to say I had something better to do, right? It used to really annoy me. We'd go to the market. I go to the market with my mum, and it's just like it was an absolute nightmare. She'd stand there speaking to people 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Yeah, but it start. It's just, so if they're gonna, I don't understand how they could say, you know what, actually, we're gonna be feeding these kids, right, pork instead of beef, right? And then you've got, there's so many religions that don't eat pork, and there's so many people in this country who won't eat pork. What the hell happens if they're all Rastafarians? They're not allowed to eat that shit, right? And then obviously there's things like chicken. They're saying that's too expensive to give to the little bastards, right? I don't know. They're going to put an alternative, but they're probably going to put probably some type of chicken nuggets, right? Which is like 3 or 4% chicken, right? Or turkey twizzlers. But food in schools is too expensive. Imagine that. Imagine that's where we are in what's supposed to be the fifth largest economy in the world, and one of the first world countries. And you put a clown, klutz, idiot in charge of the country. Literally for a few minutes, the man's been in charge for a few minutes. Right, his days are counting down though now. Right, but literally The man's been in for 5 minutes. Look what he's done, right? Don't get it twisted, right? Because a lot of this, yeah, has been, the destruction over the last 12 years, right? And then you could go back before that, right? To the destruction. If you go back to the last 50, 60, 100 years, right? All the destruction has started from them. They sold off everything in this country, right? And say, what was you expecting? And you can't even go to the petrol company or the diesel company and say to them, listen, you right need to put the prices down. You have to go to them and say, please, can you put the prices down? Because this is killing our government. When they should be saying, something, yeah, you don't put the prices down, yeah, we're going to take over the refineries, yeah, and you can get the fuck out. That's what it should be saying. Because it's not as if to say, yeah, that the government can't make a huge amount of money on petrol and diesel. Right? I mean, they already do. Right? But imagine if they said, yeah, we're going to do the whole process. And then that way, we can do it to you cheaper, and we can just live off of the taxes that we charge you on the product. But no, because see how these guys, none of them think like that in any way at all. Right? That's why people like, Dominic Raab and Liz Truss and a couple of others, right, wrote that book, something Britannia, right, Britannia Unchained or something like that, right, where they describe the British people as a bunch of lazy bastards. These people are kind of harsh. And also, welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages you sent me, and a special thanks to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that signed up, so thank you so much for that. I'll go through all your messages, I'll answer as many as I can, but I will like all your messages for definite. And so let's start in America, right, with this damn Egypt Judge Clarence Thomas, right, a man who said years ago, back in the 90s, he said, I'm gonna make, right, the liberals' life absolute hell. We're gonna make it a crisis for them out there, right? So obviously he's one of them that voted for the to turn over Roe v. Wade, and he wants to start looking into gay marriage and the pill as well. He wants to start looking into. So I was reading on his Twitter, and someone sent him a message. In fact, Samuel L. Jackson sent him a message to say, do you want to start having a look into Loving v. Virginia? So I was like, what the hell is that about? And when I've looked at it, right, Loving v. Virginia is the actual court act, right, about interracial marriage. And as you know, he's married to a white lady. Right? So Samuel L. Jackson has just literally slammed him straight with that, because, well, if you want to start looking, then you should be looking into that as well, right? Because, we've passed all of these things, right? Women should have the fucking right to do what they want to do with their own motherfucking bodies, right? So we've passed all that shit, right? As the same way we've passed, like, the pill and all the different nonsense these guys want to bring back to the table, as if to say that they are some type of great scholars, right, in this lifetime, and none of them are, because you see, Clarence, Judge Clarence Thomas, right, is an evil, vindictive fool, right, and you see, because he's part of MAGA. His wife's heavily into MAGA. She was a massive part of trying that nonsense on the January 6th. She's a massive part of it. So the January 6th committee would love to interview her as well, but a lot of them people they can't go and get interviewed by that committee, because they can't go in there and lie, so they can't go. But this guy, right, and as a black person, I mean, we just the black community just look at these people and feel, oh God, what the fuck. But you see, he, right, it's very fitting that Samuel L. Jackson actually sent him that tweet, because Samuel L. Jackson played a part in Django that represents this judge. Right? Samuel L. Jackson was Stephen in Django, and if you've never watched Django, you should watch it, right? Because Leonardo DiCaprio, he's brilliant in it, right? And Samuel L. Jackson's fantastic, and Jamie Foxx is just. It's a really good film. It's actually one of the only films about slavery that I could watch, after I was disturbed by Roots when I was a mere child. Right, so all those years, right? This was the first film about slavery that I've watched. I've never watched, 12 Years a Slave or whatever it is. I've never watched any of them. Can't watch them. I cannot watch them. I watched that. I must have watched. I don't even think. I know I didn't watch the whole season of Roots, and I think it was probably maybe 1.5 episodes, right? And up till today, I'm still disturbed about that shit, right? Really, really disturbed about it. So so people like that judge, he just really lets the black community down in some of the biggest ways possible. And we've had another mass shooting in the USA, this time Illinois, in Chicago. 6 people dead, I think 24 people injured. Right, now this guy was shooting from a rooftop, right? And when you look at the guy, I can't remember what they're called. If they're called incels but they're involuntary celibates. I think they're incels. I think that's what they're called. I can't remember. I think that's what they're called, right? But you look at him and you can tell that's what he was. If you look at him, you can see that straight away, right? And still, I mean, in America, they're still gonna, they're gonna blame everything, right, apart from the gun that guy was using. Everything else is to blame. They would probably, the Republicans would probably go as far as to say, well, if those people had run fast enough, or run in a zigzag like you would from a bear, if they had done that, right, then they wouldn't have got shots. They've run into the path of the bullet. That's what the Republicans, because I know that the Democrats, would really like to bring in some really strict gun controls. I mean, for me, I would just be taking everybody's gun away. That's how I would deal with it. Everybody's gun is going. Right? You come and you check your weapons, right, to your local police station, right, and then after that, right, I'll give you a certain amount of time for amnesty. But then after that, right, if you get caught with a gun, right, you're going to prison for 10 years minimum. That's your minimum. Right, you're going to prison for, right, and then each and every additional gun you've got, you're going to get an extra 5 years on top, right, and these are all consecutive, right. There's no, there's no, it's going to be, what's the other one called? Consecutive, or I can't remember now. Right, but it's all going to be consecutive, so you have to do the whole sentences, right? And I say every single person over the age of 16 in that house, right? If there's a gun found in there, you all go to prison. Everybody over the age of 16, you all go to prison. All of yous. That's how I would deal with it. I'll just be very hardline with it. Because and then I'd get to a stage in America where I'd say, well, now everyone in America is disarmed, right? Now the police will be disarmed, and I'll disarm them as well, right? And because police can have guns, but you should just have specialist police with guns. You shouldn't have everyday police officers with guns. That's why they're killing. That's why they're killing so much people, right? They killed a black guy. I can't remember what state it was in, but they killed a black guy over there, and he got 60 bullets put into him. 60 bullets, right? Now, listen, there was a traffic stop, and apparently he fired a shot at them from out the window. This is what said. I don't know. None of us know what do you know what I mean? But that's what they said. And then they chased him, and then he's jumped out of the car, right? And obviously that's the time when they put 60 bullets into him. He's jumped out of the car, started running, and that's the time when they put 60 bullets into him. And say, well, wouldn't 6 have done it? Or maybe 3? Maybe even 1. To riddle someone with 60 bullets, right? And now this guy who's just murdered these people at this parade, right? I'm sure, I've only heard one news report. I've heard other news reports on it, but I've only heard one news report that said that he had a bit of a shootout with the police. Right, so someone who's just killed 6 people, right, injured 24, and he has a shootout with the police, and today he's in prison. Black guy shoots out of his car window, gets out, runs, and he ends up with 60 bullets in him. I don't know what the black guy had done. I have no clue what he had done. He might have just come from committing a crime. I don't know. He's driving, and obviously, he probably shouldn't be driving with a gun. Probably a felon driving with a gun, right? But does he deserve to have 60 bullets put in him? I mean, count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 40, 55, 60. Well, no. If anybody can find any justification for that for me, please let me know it, because I don't know whether or not, because for all we know, he could have been trying suicide by cop. And I would say to black people, right, this actually it's good practice for black people, because if you want to do suicide by cop, right, they're more than likely would assist you. But on a general basis, yeah, just police, if they know it's a suicide by cop, they're just like, no, we're not killing you. We're gonna keep you alive so you can go back to your miserable motherfucking life. Right? That's how they do it on a normal basis. But how much more mass shootings? I mean, America's had more mass shootings, right, than we've had stabbings. Right? They have more, right? They have more murders in America by guns, right? Probably on a weekend than we have in this whole country for a year. I mean, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? If you work out the percentage numbers, right? They've got 275 million, something like that. I always thought it's a lot more, but it's apparently 275 million, and then we're around 70 million. So I don't know. That just seemed kind of crazy. And when your politics is so polarized as well. I can always remember Donald Trump, right? When Donald Trump was speaking about like London and saying, "Oh yeah, there's that hospital in London, right, where there's blood all over the floor because people stabbing each other with knives." I was like, is this orange fucking fool serious? And I think it must have been. I'll tell you, probably Nigel Farage was speaking to, and obviously Nigel Farage was agreeing with him. And I was like, are you fucking serious? At that time I looked up, because he was president. So at that time I looked up, right, how much people had been murdered in DC, well, obviously where the White House was. Right, so a lot of people had been murdered, and the numbers was just astronomical compared to what goes on in this country. But you see, and you think to yourself, how dare you, right? Coming from a country, right, where people are machine gunning each other, and you're talking about people, right, taking something out of their kitchen and murdering generally one person. Right? If they're skillful, they might get to, they might be able to run into a shopping centre, and stab a few. But there's a lot of people like me in this country, right, who's gonna find something and bust your head with it. Right, you're running up in somewhere with a knife, right? I'm going to go for you. There's so much people over here that's like me. We're going to go for you and bust you up. That's as simple as it is. Right? Yeah. Whether or not, right, you have a suicide vest on, because I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna look at that and think to myself, that is a fake. And if you blow my ass up, then you know what? I got it as a hero. Right? But I'm just looking at that and thinking, that's a fake. Right? I'm gonna pick up something, I'm gonna bust your head with it. Simple as that. A 10-year-old girl who got raped in America was not allowed to have an abortion in the state that she lives in. She was raped, and she got pregnant after the rape. And she, obviously the new laws have come in, so they say, well, you have to push that baby out of your little 10-year-old body. Let's just hope by the time you're pushing the baby out, you're 11. But at least if she does have the baby, we know that the baby will be in a country where it's very safe. It will be able to go to parades, and it will be able to go to school in safety. Senator Adrian Dickey, whose daughter has kicked him out of her life because he voted, right, for the abortion laws in America. Right? And she said it's not the first time that she stopped speaking to his ass because he's an absolute dick. And I guarantee you, right, that the first thing he's going to do, he's going to blame the liberals, right, for corrupting his daughter. That's what he's going to do. He's going to say, it's all those liberals' fault, right? It's all those fault, right? They've got into her mind, and she's gay. because she's married to a woman, right? And obviously they wanted to, they obviously all the laws that the Republicans want to come over with their complete craziness, right? Has actually made the Democrats, like the Democrats have gone quite far ahead of them in the polls and all that. Do you know what I mean? And obviously with Donald Trump, looks like he's pushing to be to run for president again, which is just kind of craziness. Do you know what I mean? The only place he should be pushing is his bars in his cell. But America's a kind of mad place. Donald Trump cannot find anyone to publish his book, and he must be pissed, right? That man must be. You know why? And I'll tell you why he must be pissed. Do you know why? Because Barack, right, and Michelle Obama got $65 million advance from Penguin. So Donald Trump, he must be pissed because anything Barack Obama does, he thinks that he can do, and he thinks, well, why don't you compare speeches? Why don't you compare the way how you speak to the way how Obama speaks? Why don't you just do that, right? Because you are not right in the Obama's league. I don't know. He somehow thinks that he is. I'm like, you are so far away from Obama's league. That is like, right, you needing a heart operation and they send round a motor mechanic and the motor mechanic's like, well, I'll give it a tinker. That's like that. That's the difference, right, between Trump and Obama. Right? But Trump really, when I tell you, this man must be kicking everything, right? There must be tomato ketchup on every single wall, right? And there must be limo drivers, right, that getting choked out on a daily basis, right? Because he must be so pissed, right, that there's no one ever, they're just all like, no, we ain't going to do your book because we don't like you. And we think your presidency was a load of shit. And we never want you to be president again. And you are unworthy of the office of President of the United States. At least that's what I think they're probably saying. But seriously, do you know what I mean? When I tell you, he must be pissed. But my favourite story of the year has got to be this. Right? A man in Chile who received 286 times his wages, right, has gone missing, right? After, right, because the obviously, because his wages is supposed to be, it's 5 million pesos, Chilean pesos, a month, right? And you might think, woo, but no, right? That relates to about $525 a month, right? And so, right, he ends up with, I think it converts to about 170,000 pounds, right? And then, right, they also said, oh, we're really sorry, right, but we've managed to give you 286 times your wages. Is there any chance you could give us the money back? And he went, oh, so I'll check my bank account, and then I'll get straight down to the bank, and I'll get it sorted for you. So, right, he checked his bank account, he looked at it and he thought, ooh. Now, I live in Chile, right, I'm on 5 million pesos a month, which is about $525. Right, they've just given me 100. Right, obviously, the question I'm going to ask you at the end of this. You can already tell. Right, so they got back in contact. Obviously, when he didn't turn up, they got back in contact, and he said to me, "Yeah, don't worry. Right, I'm going to the bank tomorrow. Right, I'm going to get the money in a duffel, right, and get it back down to you. Don't worry about anything. Everything is in hand." And the next thing, he disappeared. He's gone. Now, I mean, you think to yourself, well, he's probably in America. I mean, he probably couldn't get himself into America. I mean, he's got 170 grand. So obviously, that's probably in dollars. That's probably what $185 or whatever. So so he can probably get himself into America or whatever. Do you know what I mean? get yourself into one of the states where you can buy cheaper properties, because you don't want to, there's places where you go to America and it's just like living in fucking London, as if you're living in Belvedere fucking Square or whatever the hell they want to call it, right? But there's much more places where you can buy cheap. I mean, in this country, there's places you can buy cheap houses. There's places in this country where you've got houses where I've got a ceiling of like 30 grand, because they're old, like coal miners' houses and things like that in certain areas. Do you know what I mean? So you can get it over here, but he has done a runner with all the money. Now let me ask you, what the hell would you do in that situation? Even if, right, because me, right, I'd be off ski, not off skiing, off ski, right. But if it was like, say, like it was, for example, say it was the government that done that to you, rice would be in the Caribbean or in Africa, straight. I wouldn't even give them no time. Gone, right? Gone, right? That would be that. I'd be like, and then when I come back in 10 or 20 years time, I'd be like, huh? What money? Yeah. Massive gas explosion in Bedford. I don't know if you saw this, like the flats. Now, I didn't know, that they put gas into flats. Because I've lived in loads of flats and none of them had gas in them. I didn't realise that in this country but for some reason this had gas in it, and the massive explosion really destroyed the building. Like buildings in like they build that building, is going into a whole heap of some new windows and some new screen doors. And it seems that Boris Johnson knew all about Chris Pincher, right? Because Boris Johnson had a label for him, Pincher by name, Pincher by nature, right? But the first thing Boris Johnson done was to lie about it. First thing that came out of his mouth, know nothing about this man. Just like how Donald Trump would be like, I know nothing about these people. First thing Boris Johnson said, I know nothing. Because Boris Johnson's first thing is to lie, right? And it's not him meaning to do it. His first reaction is to just say, "Oh no, I didn't do that. I would never do that." Right? But you see, Lord MacDonald, I hope his first name is Ronald. Please let his first name be Ronald, right? But Lord MacDonald, right, has said that Boris Johnson is a damn liar, right? And you had Therese Coffey, right, a woman who looks like she was born divorced, right, coming out the other day and just saying, "Oh no, Boris Johnson knew nothing about this man's past, nothing." Yeah, Dominic Raab this morning soiling himself on national radio, on national TV, making a complete fool of himself, going out there and lying for Boris Johnson, right? When later on, right, when it's all come out, oh no, Boris Johnson knew. And the reason why Boris Johnson knew, first of all, because Dominic Raab had the inquiry into this guy. And then there's an even bigger bombshell, because Carrie Johnson, but at that time she was probably Carrie Simmons or whatever, or Simons or whatever the hell they want to call her, right? She made a complaint about this guy. Now tell me this, right? You go home to your partner, right? Now your partner's got nothing to do with your workplace. Someone in there, right, is a filthy, right, sex pest, right? Do you think your partner's going to discuss that with you? Say, oh, you know what? He's been found out, hasn't he? He got found out. They found out about him. He's going around. He's feeding up men. He's feeding up women. That's the thing. What you and your partner's going to discuss, right? The only difference is Boris Johnson is this guy's boss, so of course Carrie's going to bring him up to speed and exactly what this guy was at. But as I said, Boris Johnson already had a nickname for this guy. So if you've got a nickname for someone, but then you're going out, you're sending your politicians out into the media to go out there and lie for you, and the whole country is looking at them and saying, "Well, we know you're lying. What the fuck are you doing, man? Come on, be serious." Right? But it's just constant. This for Boris Johnson, this shit is just constant, and he does it to these guys. And you say, how long are they prepared to put up with this? How long will they carry on this absolute farce? How, yeah, how has he got them into this position? Right? I know that all of these guys, right, the majority of them, right, would not get a job, right, parking cars, right, in a car park. They, right, the majority of them, Dominic Raab, Therese Coffey, yeah, I mean, come on, man, the only man who can fit into a lady's pencil skirt, right? You really think Jacob Rees-Mogg could? I don't even know how people voted for that twat, but they did. you know, So that it's only this country that's got themselves into this position. That's who's got themselves into the position, right? And you've got yourself in a position with a politician, right, who just like he's dragged. It just looks at what we're looking at internationally, how we must look internationally, right? We must look so bad. Right? Let's just go Donald Trump. So bad, so bad. Keir Starmer has proved himself to be an absolute idiot. Right, this guy, right, he's on Baldrick level of stupidity. Do you know this? How the hell you can alienate the Scots in the way how he has. Right? Labour have got no seats in Scotland as it is. Right? Before this fool embraces the SNP, who is actually Scottish Labour. Right? He's gone and started sticking it to them. And then he's made his stupid ass speech yesterday, right, about the EU. And you think, really? So you really gonna carry on, right, thinking that those idiots in the red wall, right, is going to, because no matter what, right, however the situation turns out now, right, this country, right, is not going to go back into the EU. Okay, for the simple reason, right, if it wanted to, right, you would have to take the euro, okay, and you would have to agree to Schengen if you wanted to go, if this country wanted to go back in. So it's not going to go back in because a lot of the Remainers, right, are not going to vote to lose the pound. Okay, we already had the world's best deal out of everybody, out of all the what I think there's about 32 countries that's actually associated with the EU. 27 or whatever inside, or how much ever inside, and then you've got the other countries that have got deals with the EU. So obviously they adhere to all of the rules and all those type of things, right? So I think there's probably freedom of movement and all that as well, right? But it doesn't really, however you look at it, right, this country cannot go back into the EU, right? So basically we are where we are. So Keir Starmer wants to make Brexit work. I say in the first place, right, what you should have been doing, you should have been standing at the sides sniping all the time, right, and telling those people in the red wall, yeah, okay, this is what you voted for and this is what you've got. You voted for Johnson, right? He's taken us out of the EU. So much thousands of people have lost their jobs, right? We've got, this lost the country over £100 billion, right? That's just in the figures that they can put, right? That doesn't include, I guarantee that doesn't include, right, all the blockages, right, at the airports and things like that. Guarantee it doesn't include that. It won't include all the people, all the holidays that people have lost and all that. Right. So you're probably talking. You could probably, right, do that 100 billion 3 times, right, in what this country's actually lost. But Keir Starmer, right, thinks that, what, I still can't attack this. Still can't attack it. Right. This guy's very, before I never used to say that he was weak, but he's, I just used to think that, what, they're picking on him. But now his true character seems like it's coming out, and this guy's really stupid. He's an idiot. Zoos and aquariums are complaining about Brexit. Again, I mean, is it the first time they've complained about Brexit? I don't think I've spoke about zoos and Brexit, but zoos are complaining about Brexit and aquariums too, because they're having problems moving animals. They've only moved 48 animals probably in the last year, right? But by this time in a year, they would have moved up to 1,400. Wow. So they've gone from 48, appropriate number, right, up right, and it should have been 1400. I'd say, yeah, that somebody has been really stupid and been very silly and voted, right, to fuck the country up. Starmer's getting ready to attack Johnson over Brexit. Starmer's the idiot. Emily Thornberry, or hey woman with the fat neck, you know her neck is fat, right, has said no government would rejoin the EU, and for reasons that I've just told you. Because they're going to be asking you to get rid of the pound. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very, very difficult. It's going to be very, very difficult because I don't want to get rid of the pound. It's our currency. I like our pound. Even though it's worth shite, right? I still like it. Stupid political games are being played by a man who looks as if he is an owl. Ian Duncan Smith, right? The man who looks like one of those two, Waldo or whatever, in the Muppets, right? That's Ian Duncan Smith. He's one of those two, right? And Ian Duncan Smith has the cheek to say that the EU are holding the UK hostage. And he can say that because you know why he can say that? Because he knows that his stupid ass base, right, who are a load of racist, individual, foolish, xenophobic, bigoted twats, will just lap it up and say, yeah, look at them holding us hostage, it's their fault. All of this, what's going on in this country, it's their fault. Imposing all these new rules on us. You know what, I'm not even going to have that argument because you know what, if you don't realise now how stupid your vote was, let's not argue about it no more. Jacob Rees-Mogg says the cost of living crisis has nothing to do with Brexit. For him, probably. He's never been in a cost of living crisis. But the cost of living crisis has nothing to do with Brexit, says Jacob Rees-Mogg. And then he went round the corner and sniggered. Oh dear, you know something? This is very disturbing, what's going on in this country. It's very hurtful, it's very disturbing, and it's very, very sad that this once very great nation has been brought down to this. And all because of stupid racists, right? Who, you know what, who, well, you know, just, you know, the America, you know, the right wing in America and the right wing in this country, right? They are one side of the same backside, right? And how these people have been allowed to be in power, right, just shows like this country has gone so far down. It's gone so far down, too far. It's like limbo. Anyway, guys, look, I've got to bow out of here before I even hit that 40 minutes. This, my friends, is By Any Means Necessary. I'm the MC John Ribbs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. I'm uploading this video a bit later today. Please, comments below.